Warning. The opinions expressed in this video do not represent YouTube, associations, agencies, or any particular individuals. They are merely from two guys needing to pass the boredom of their average day lives. Some explicit content may occur in this or future presentations. Viewer discretion may be advised, but ignored if you're into that thing.
I'm the Big Bad Wolf Benny.
I'm Wild Man Wes.
It is day 7 of Shocktoberfest.
Lucky or unlucky number 7, you know. It goes both ways in October, so.
Well, today we're going to be doing a throwback vampire movie called Vampire's Coffin. Now, this is a Spanish vampire movie. Came out in, what, the 1940s?
1958.
58,
in Mexico,
okay.
Yeah.
So for the time period, it wasn't terrible. It does feel like a third-rate knockoff of Dracula.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like a sequel of Dracula, cause I feel like they could have done like...
Well, I mean, this movie is actually a sequel to a movie called The Vampire.
Oh, okay, then that makes more sense.
But we looked high and low for that one, for a possibility, and just for research, but, yeah, unfortunately...
You kind of get the basic story in the movie, they kind of give you what happened in the first one, so not a big deal. But anyway... A vampire's dead, obviously. This doctor, he goes and gets the coffin. This guy he took with him turns out to be a no-good guy. Tries to rob the coffin because, you know, the guy was wearing a nice jewel. And then, of course, he brings the vampire back to life and trouble starts all over again. And
what you forgot to mention was the doctor was actually getting the vampire to reanimate him. But he never got the chance.
No. So anyway, guys, that's basically the whole premise of the movie. Like I said, go watch it. It is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. It's
in Spanish, though, so if you don't speak Spanish, there's already subtitles on there, which I know some people say, I have to watch the movie twice because now I got to know what they're saying. I got to look up and see what they're doing. It's not a strain. Don't be those people, please.
No. I mean, hey, I could watch it either way.
Either way, like I said, I mean, some pretty good acting. Yeah.
I mean, for the 1950s, even in the 1940s and 1950s, a lot of films had to, I mean, with the acting, even in America, a lot of fast talking. I mean, a lot of TV shows, like Family Guy makes a joke about fast talking people in the 40s or in the 30s or something like that.
Horseradish. Well, aren't you a pocket full of firecrackers? Oh, yeah? You got something to say about it? I'll say plenty.
It's true, though. I mean, it's actually true.
I liked it. I really did like this film.
Because in real life, I mean, when people are actually talking to each other, it's pretty fast, mile a minute sometimes. I mean, people that know us, we talk a mile a minute.
Oh, yeah, especially if we're passionate about something.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, it's your basic standard vampire movie. The vampire was dead. He comes back to life. He's trying to get the girl that he was after in the first movie. Blah, 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 blah. So we're just going to go into...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know whether I liked this or I didn't like this part. It felt like Dracula meets Frankenstein about the whole reanimation thing.
Yeah.
But even when I read the plot summary of what the movie was about, it says that a doctor reanimates him. And I was like... He didn't even reanimate him, so...
No.
That was a little check mark. I had to put a check mark.
So anyway, I mean, we're going to just jump into, like you said, we're already into why we like it, why we don't like it. I like it for the special effects.
I love that too,
actually. A lot. They were pretty impressive for the time, just like, you know, they jump from the vampire about to turn to the bed, and the way they do it, it's believable.
Even like his shadow when it's about to engulf somebody. Oh,
it was pretty good. Like I said, that was my favorite part about the film. Was that it was the special effects.
And I mean, even the cinematography.
I mean, there was one part when they had the fake bat flying around where you saw the wires once, and that was in the ending scene when he's fighting the guy. And I mean, for one scene that I see the wires, that's not bad for the time.
Yeah, I mean, even when the coffin opens and closes by itself, you didn't see any wire work on that. I mean,
so it was very,
for
very
the 1950s, you know, almost going into 1960. I mean, that's
very impressive.
Very impressive.
I mean, that really ranked it up in my book. Because, you know, sometimes you get those corny vampire movies where you can see everything going on, even though you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And this one really hit the nail on the coffin. No pun intended. Yeah. I saw the wires once, and there was a lot of scenes like him vanishing and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Even, you know, they didn't do a whole lot of makeup, but the teeth looked really good. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell that when they were in there, he didn't really open his mouth up wide, so they didn't move. But for what we saw, it was good. It was good.
It's pretty good. I mean, I like the cinematography.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it too.
I
love the camera. Yeah,
a lot of
the overhead angles. I liked them.
So again, this is why I like the movie. Like I said, now we're going to talk about why we didn't like it. Again, like I've said before,
Yeah, I mean, when
it just felt like a third-rate Dracula movie, like a sequel.
And just not that. I mean, when I mentioned about not reanimating when the plot said it, the one thing that I kind of, didn't like about it for the most part was that in most vampire movies, a vampire has these complete ultimate powers that they can control anybody's mind. And
this one kind of had to use his amulet.
Yeah, I'm like, why did he
so
why did he
I kind
need the
of
amulet?
I sort of liked it, and I sort of didn't, because he had the amulet, which is what the bandit was trying to steal when he reanimated him.
Yeah,
and he would actually use it like a hypnotist, like hypnotizing the people.
But
so,
that kind of bugged me. And
I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't know if they were trying to be more realistic. But it's like, it's a vampire movie. Why be realistic? Just give him the whole Dracula thing.
I mean,
look into my eyes.
The other part that I didn't like was near the end
when he's fighting him.
Oh, the girl shoved him and he fell backwards. I'm like, you're a vampire.
He even makes a joke to the doctor. And he's, now you know what it means to fight a vampire. Like, all the vampire was doing was like disappearing, going invisible. And then he turned up behind him, and the doctor was just like,
I mean, seriously, it's like...
The only time the vampire was winning is when he turned into the bat.
I mean, if this vampire has such, extraordinary powers, all he has to do is do like in Star Wars with the Force hand, and stop them in their tracks. In every other vampire movie we've seen, even Bela Lugosi could do that.
So,
and I'm just looking at, and that was like 20 years before this, and I was just like, what the hell, man? Seriously.
So again, there's good parts about the movie, there's bad parts about the movie.
But any horror movie is like that.
Up until that point, though, like, the vampire was pretty cool, and then, like, you see him getting tossed around by the girl he's after.
He went out like a punk.
The doctor's knocking him out and stuff. He went out bad.
Yeah, I know what it is, seriously. I mean,
I really don't have any other things to complain about besides that. I mean,
one thing.
What do you got there, big guy?
The Wax Museum. There's certain instruments of death in the Wax Museum.
Oh, the Iron Maiden.
Why would they have a real Iron Maiden and a real guillotine in a Wax Museum?
Yeah, because there's a part where the girl's knocked out and she's on the guillotine.
I laughed.
As she gets up and comes down, it's like,
so hard on that. I mean, seriously, I almost myself.
It was pretty funny.
Laughing so hard, but I mean,
anyways, guys,
it is what it is.
Jump in right to where we're ranking it.
You go first.
A lot of the special effects, I think, saved it, but again, the vampire being so weak, and he's, he literally says, "Oh, I have nothing to fear from mortal men" early in the film, and it's like, kind of gotta fear this doctor. He's kind of beating you up. He's beating your ghoul up. It's just like, all right, I really don't believe you're that supernatural, but all right, cool. You regenerated after having a stake through your. I'm gonna be a little bit more generous on this one because I did like the movie altogether. I'm gonna give it a C+.
C+? All right.
It's fair. It's, it's somewhere in between. Like, if you're a vampire lover, if you love vampire movies, check it out just because it is historical. I like it.
I gotcha. At first, when I was rating this movie, I gave it a pretty bad rating. But now that I actually talked about it, now I've realized
it's not as bad.
It's not as bad. I mean, the acting was decent for what it is. From back in their time. And I'm just going to go ahead and give it I'll give it a C-.
That's fair.
Because of the vampire shoving.
You know what that set me off to? Is I'm like, how is he getting beat up by not that a female couldn't beat a guy up, but he's a vampire.
He's a supernatural being, and you're just like, wait a minute, if he's got all these powers, how's he gonna, get shoved by just a human? It just
didn't make sense to me.
Being. It's just like,
I think that's fair rating, guys. So definitely, it's on Netflix. Like I said, check it out.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
it's worth at least one watch.
Always, like we always say, comment down below, like, share, and of course, hit that red button to subscribe. Exactly. We would like to give you more content, so the more people we have watching us, the more we're going to put into this for you guys.
Because we love you. Always have. Until then, I'm Wild Man Wes.
I'm the Big Bad Wolf Benny.
And we'll see you tomorrow on the Wild Wolf Show's Shocktoberfest. See you soon.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, something so bad happens that a terrible sadness is carried with it, and the soul can't rest. Then sometimes, just sometimes, the crow can bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.